Welcome back for another amazing lesson on how to build your law firm's website. This is probably the peak of the course right now, this particular lesson, because what we're going to do at this stage is probably what you've been wanting to happen this entire time, which is actually building and really getting a feel for your website. And the goal here is for you to tap into whatever creative side you have and to ultimately start getting closer to having that law firm website that you've been wanting. But of course, before we dive into the lesson, I have to always give the heads up. If you're watching this video on YouTube right now, be sure to hit the link that's sliding above on the top right and head over to lawventure.com/courses and check out this lesson within the course. The reason for that is, and you'll see this if you keep watching, as we go through this video, as we go through this lesson, I'm going to refer to resources that are only available within the body of the lesson on lawventure.com. So if you are on YouTube, obviously hit the like button, subscribe, but then hit that link that just slid above, head over to LawVenture and check this lesson out. Okay, so enough of the intro. I'm hoping at this point, since we're deep into this course, you know the drill of needing to be on LawVenture. So I'm going to put that to the back burner for now. Let's talk strategy a little bit because, like I said, our goal here is to build our law firm's website. And what we could do is just dive straight in and try and build a website from scratch. But it's really hard to build and design a website without a reference point. And so what I recommend you do is to get a better sense, or what you need to do is get a better sense of what kind of law firm website you're wanting. And a great way to do that is to simply look and see if you can find any forms of inspiration. You could simply type in to Google, and I don't know what area of law, maybe it's personal injury lawyers in your area, see what your competition is doing if that's your competition, or maybe it's not your competition and you just want to see what other lawyers are doing in general. That's a great way to kind of get a feel of what may work or what doesn't work, and your gut's probably going to be your best indicator of what is working and what isn't working. And so if you're going through somebody's website and it's like, yeah, I don't really like that, or that just seems a little abrasive, or that's not really hitting with me as the viewer, then maybe you can change that with your particular website. Another approach other than Google is to head over to themeforce.net. And I went ahead and filtered the searches for WordPress themes that are tailored to law. And some of them stuck out as, points that I probably want to talk about real quick. So let's head over to the first one and let's start digesting that one a little bit. So here's a theme for lawyers. As you can see, you can get it for $69. There's been 870 sales. That's a lot of sales. So I think the easy connection you can maybe make here is maybe there are 870 lawyer websites that are using this theme. That's a little bit of a reference point of the approach or the style that other people are using. Now, when people are zigging, you may want to zag. So let's just take a look at this particular website design. So I'm going to scroll through this. I have a balance here to where I don't want to bore you with this video to where you're just, okay, come on, Jared, hurry up, scroll through it. But at the same time, I don't want to go too fast, just in case if you do want to see these examples to get a little bit of inspiration. A couple things stick out in my mind, which is if you're trying to convert somebody into a potential customer, meaning you're trying to either get them on the phone or go through the funnel process of a questionnaire, you would want this free consultation button to stick out a little bit more than what it's already sticking out, right? This kind of blends in, and so my eye doesn't go there to where I feel the need to potentially click it. Same with this one. This button up here just blends in more than anything else. In all honesty, I didn't really see this button. Your eye kind of goes to the red in here, which is CNN and all this, which is cool. If you've been seen or featured in any of these, like, go for it. Be sure to list that and have that type of credibility that's established. I do like that you have this hero image up here. I like that it's basically another hero image right there, and that this allows you to kind of get a feel of who you're looking into. And It does break it down into areas of law, which is cool. But I will say there's a lot going on. It's really busy. It's just kind of like, I feel like it's squished, like you're trying to fit a massive hamburger into your mouth. And so the best way to do it is just like press down on it. Or is that just me? In any event, I think you understand what I'm talking about, to where you immediately go from this to this to this, and there's a lot going on. And so a little bit of like spacing out, I think, would be better in this situation. So yeah, free case evaluation, that's great. All this is pretty on brand with what a lot of law firms do. I do like this. I like the ability, if you're able to put photos of your personnel or yourself here, to help draw a little bit of personalization into the equation. That's great. Using stock photos, on the other hand, I wouldn't be a fan of that, because then that just seems a little, it's just not authentic. So we're going to keep scrolling. Again, this button doesn't really stand out. It doesn't really make me have the urge to click it. I'm always a fan of client testimonials. We'll talk about that in greater detail. You kind of have this like meet the attorneys thing again. Maybe if you have a lot of attorneys, you want to break it up to where it's just not a ton of it. It is kind of funny that you have the partner lawyer here and you also have work accident with the photo, but that's just me. Okay, so pricing plans, we can do all this. So I'm looking at this, blog posts, we have the ability. So everything we're seeing right here, we can use Thrive Suite to put together. The question is, how do we want to optimize our website? And so in looking at this overall, I think the color scheme should be better. It does have a professional feel, but it also needs to be less busy because there's just a lot going on. But for the $70 for appearance, it's not too bad, I don't think. Keeping in mind, with Thrive Suite, we can not only do all of this, but we can use a whole lot more of the ammunition that comes with Thrive Suite in order to make the website a whole lot more interactive and powerful, especially behind the scenes. So let's put this one kind of in our memory bank, figure out exactly what we like about it, and move on to the next example. So this one right here popped up, and I took a look at it earlier. I do want to spend a little bit of time taking a look at it and give you my thoughts. $52, so this one's a little bit cheaper. You have 1,800 sales, so maybe there are 1,800 lawyers and law firms out there that are using it. And let's check it out. So let's do the balance again, to where I'm scrolling, but not too quickly, but also not too slowly, to where you feel like this is an absolute bore. But we got to get a feel for this. We got to take a look at everything. I'm kind of laughing right now because this pinkish color scheme is a little bit on par with what we set up in the last lesson, or at least what I set up in the last lesson, especially with this blue. So we're actually getting kind of close to the color scheme that I'll be working on with TexasClassActionLawyer.com for you. So initial thoughts. I like this header. If you're wanting to have a whole bunch of information up here on my actual stonefirm.law, I keep it very simple. The only thing that they can click up on the header is the questionnaire button, and so that way nobody gets distracted or anything. It just pushes the eye directly to that. Again, the find more doesn't really stick out too much. It doesn't really, draw too much attention. This, I think, is it 100 million, 100,000? I don't know. That does stick out though. There's a little bit of like breathing going on here, to where it's not jam packed. This is a little weird. I mean, maybe if you're showing your office, but I mean, having some type of explanation of what we're looking at here would be a good reference point. I would probably put this a little bit higher up so people know before they start scrolling whether or not they're even on the right website. But overall, not too bad. It's a little bit, I'll say, icon-y. I don't know what the right word is, to where they're using a whole bunch of icons here, to where, I don't know, it looks, you go from fancy photos to icons there. I don't know if I like that transition, but again, that's me being picky. This is cool. I do like this, to where you get a little bit of information, because the question always is going to be, why should the potential client choose you, or why should they even give you a call? So having a section that addresses that is great. And if you have the ability to put down numbers, then that's great too. I will say, if we scroll back up, be aware and mindful of what the rules are involving websites in your jurisdiction, in your state, because if you're advertising any type of recovery, you may be required to also put how much the attorney's fees and costs were as well, to where you have to like fully disclose everything. And so sometimes these facts right here, and it can be flagged by the head honchos in your jurisdiction, which is never really a great thing to pop up for. So just words to the wise there, be mindful of that. I will also say, sometimes if you're broadcasting and showcasing money, I could see how that may be off-putting to some people, or it may actually funnel the wrong kind of potential customers or potential clients that you're wanting. Meaning, I can see one set of people who are like, okay, now they're just bragging here. That's a little off-putting. I can see another set of people who are just like all about the money. And in those situations, kind of figure out if that's going to lend itself to funneling more high maintenance clients your way. But again, that's kind of up to you. That's a judgment call you're going to have to make, just things to think about. So, okay, scrolling back down. I do like this. I like this setup. It gets, clean here, and having the ability to get more information is great. I'm all about personalizing your website, as we'll talk about when we get to my website. This is a little bit random just because I don't know exactly who this is. So if it said reviews or something, that would orient me a little bit better. Here we have a blog post at the bottom again, which I guess makes sense because the blog posts aren't necessarily going to be what converts somebody as directly as maybe the $100 million that we're looking at up here. Okay, so a lot of scrolling back and forth. I hope you're not getting seasick. Another call to action is what I would refer to this as. And as you can see, the make an appointment it doesn't stick out. So that's a little nitpicky thing right there. Yeah, and then you'll have to decide whether or not you want to have an intake form like this, or if you want to have your information available like that. I'll go ahead and tell you, the fear that I have, and I've experienced this in the wrong way firsthand, is that as soon as your email and your phone number and your address is made publicly available, a lot of marketing companies will search for lawyers and law firms under your area of law in your area, and they'll go from page 1 to page 2 to page 3 on Google and so on, and they'll put you on a list. They'll say, okay, we know how to go to ABC Law Firm and reach out to them with our marketing, whatever product they're pushing or whatever service they're pushing. And so you'll be getting a whole lot more phone calls from your website, but you'll be a little bit more tied up with non-potential clients, and that kind of defeats the point a little bit. So do a self-analysis of what you think is going to be best. For example, let's say we were to take this out and then just have the contact form there. That would achieve the goal of making sure that this information isn't, too accessible for marketing. But, at the same time, if you want to be ultra accessible all the time for people who are hitting your website, then maybe that's what you want to do. But that's just my 2 cents on the subject. And okay, we got a feel for this one. This one I think is better than the last one. So let's go ahead and move on to my other example. Okay, so this one stuck out. I'll tell you why in a second, but we're looking at $69 here, just under 2,000 sales. So this one is pretty popular. As you can see here, we can change photos, take a look at things. Okay, so it immediately hits you with the areas of law, which I actually like. This free evaluation sticks out a whole lot more than the other ones. This contact us now does not stick out at all. So I would try and find a way to maybe make sure it's more like this with the color scheme. But anyways, having the occasional like off-brand color for your buttons, I think looks good just because your eye goes to it. But anyways, let's continue scrolling through. We can do all of this through Thrive Themes and Thrive Suite. Just as like I said, keep in mind you don't want to get in trouble by promoting numbers if you're not supposed to, or if you're required to promote specific attorney's fees and things like that. Sorry, I'm scrolling, talking, and thinking at the same time. Okay, this is kind of cool. You get what our clients say. The problem is, I think with having to go from one to the other, it's not responding very well. You can't hear it, but I'm clicking a lot in order to get it to change. I do like that there's a video there. We're starting to get kind of squished on things. It doesn't really, there's a lot going on at this point. It's talking about the law services, and this is probably like the third time it's talked about it. I think this is cool if you ever have the option to be able to flex on people here and there. Okay, and then you have your quick contacts right there. Some information. I don't think I saw a blog post section, which I'm not opposed to not having one. But with all this, yeah, I think we get a good feel for it. So this, I like the color scheme. You can kind of get a sense of like what most law firms are using. And the question is, do you want to stick out from that, right? Do you want to have a feel that's different? Let's say you're the 10th website somebody's looked at. Do you want yours to stand out? How can you do that? Can you do that by color? Can you do that by presentation? Can you do that by style? We'll talk about that. Let's move on to our last example on Theme Forest. And this one I really like a particular thing. So as we can see here, we have a $60 setup, just under 800 sales. Let's click live preview. I love this photo. I think it looks awesome. Wait, no, go back to the photo. I think it looks awesome. In all honesty, I don't know if it's just because I'm jealous I can't grow a beard like that, or if it's because of the texture, but you have a great hero image here, and it's great. I don't know if it's like super welcoming. I don't know. I think it's a cool photo. Okay, let's stop moving this. But same potential critique is, the gold and dark colors, it doesn't really stand out too much, but at the same time, it does look really, really clean. So I don't really have too much of a critique of this particular button, especially because there isn't too much going on. And yeah, there's a lot going on with the movement though. So scrolling down, these options are pretty cool right here. It helps kind of, you immediately start doing things. Why you need the top lawyers in O'Connor. This is just awkwardly set up as a read, right? You're going from here to there. It doesn't really flow very well. Again, I feel like we're immediately going from this to more information without really much scrolling. There's a lot going on in a very condensed amount of space. Yeah, we can do all of this on Thrive Suite. Nothing too impressive there. I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's cool to see those numbers, but nothing too crazy. Okay, this may be, yeah, it's not blog post. It looks like it's more of just like advertising. Make an appointment, what people say. Yeah, I'm just not a big fan of having to scroll to see the reviews, right? It's not as impactful, especially if somebody is just like burning through this. They're not going to see all those reviews. Let's take a look at this. Well, first things first, if you have a law firm filled with this level of like good looking people, then good for you. You need to showcase the fact that you have a law firm full of models. But I mean, this is pretty cool. I think a little bit of information about them to help personalize them would be a great thing to have. But let's keep moving. Okay, these are the blog posts here at the bottom. So it looks like the theme here of all these themes is putting blog posts at the bottom if you're going to put anything at all. Okay, and then you got your footer here. So yeah, this isn't bad at all, but I think you can maybe get a sense of what a lot of other law firms are doing. I mean, I think if I just do off the cuff math, we're talking about several thousand purchases with these like themes, but the problem is, again, are you just going to be copying what everyone else is doing, or should you be zigging when everyone's zagging? So the good news here is that we can do everything we're seeing here on Theme Forest on Thrive themes, and we can actually do a whole lot more using Thrive Suite. But one more piece of inspiration that I do want to refer you to, so let's head over to that particular piece of information. So here's my law firm's website, and you've seen it. I've kind of alluded to it throughout this course. And the reason why I want to show it to you is so you can get additional inspiration. And in particular, what I did was not only did I go through some of the examples that we went through whenever I was originally making my website, but I looked at other, sites that were popping up on Google. Like I've said a couple of times, I decided to zag while everyone was zigging, or maybe I was zigging when everyone was zagging. And I plan on releasing a video to show and fully explain my methodology with this particular website format. But I'll touch on the highlights right now in this lesson, and at some point in the future, whenever that video does come out, I'll see if I can slide that on the top right above right here. Anyways, so let's scroll through a little bit and get a feel of this website that I actually tweaked a little bit today. And so whenever you were looking at it in the previous lessons, you'll see there are some differences today. One of those differences is this little sticky bar that is up here, but I'll keep scrolling so you can get a sense of it. Okay, so that's the website. I'm going to go all the way back up to the top. And so a few things I want to point out here, and this is kind of what makes things a little bit different, is let's begin with the header, right? There are no links to a blog, to any type of courses, to anything other than can I help? And the point of can I help is to send everyone to a questionnaire, a quiz, in order for them to take this 3-minute quiz to find out if I'm the right law firm and lawyer for them. And the reason this is important, I've talked about this in previous lessons, but for those that are new, I think this is extremely important because if I were to put my phone number here at the top, I can't tell you how many times I get phone calls from people saying, look, I saw on your website that you don't handle this area of law, but I think my case may be a little bit different. Or I think, maybe this is an exception to the equation. And unfortunately, I'm super nice, and so I hear them out. I walk them through why I don't handle it, or why there are issues with the case. And so sometimes it's like a 30 or 45-minute call just because I'm way too nice to rush somebody off the phone. And the issue there is I'm burning time in the day when I can be a whole lot more productive, working as a lawyer, working and trying to bring money in for the law firm, or doing law of interest stuff. And the point of this minimalist approach is to push everyone in the direction of the questionnaire that I have, because I can really figure out whether or not I'm interested in hearing about a case in 3 questions, right? It takes me maybe the first 2 or 3 minutes of a conversation to determine whether or not I have interest, and maybe 5 minutes into the conversation to really get a sense of whether or not I want the case, and then maybe 6 or 7 minutes into the conversation on whether or not I'm the right fit for this particular person. The point here is that first threshold of whether or not I'm interested in the case should be handled automatically, and I do that automatically through my website. So enough of that. Let's kind of get a sense of things, and I'll walk you through my rationale here. I wanted to make it very clear that no matter what city you're in, as long as you're in the state of Texas, you have the opportunity to be a client under Stone Firm PLLC. So this is immediately jumping into it. My goal with immediately having these 2 options is, one, to make it clear, if you have a car wreck, I can potentially help. If you have a class action, I can potentially help. And if somebody's wanting information ASAP, all they have to do is click learn more, and boom, they can start getting more information. And there's even more information as they scroll down. But let's go all the way back up top. Hope you don't get seasick. And notice a little bit that I try to not squeeze everything super tight, right? We talked about that hamburger earlier. And so I'm trying to keep it nice and spaced out. And as we're scrolling, I immediately wanted there to be reviews. And this is important. I'm going to stop right here because with my approach and my philosophy as a lawyer: trust over anything. And what I mean by that is I can show someone, hey, we got this huge settlement or we got this huge verdict. Yeah, that doesn't really establish trust. It may establish that I'm good with my job, or maybe I'm good at getting money, but it doesn't necessarily establish the trust that people need in order to potentially give me a call or to become a client of mine. I think trust is huge, and the biggest reason for that is us lawyers, unfortunately, have a bad rap for not being trustworthy. And so my goal with these reviews, as soon as they start scrolling, is to hit them over the head with all these kind words to where that's establishing the trust and establishing the results in a very friendly way and using resources other than my own words. So like I was alluding to earlier, this right here is brand new. I just added it. And the reason for that is I realized I had this button probably too many times throughout the website. I had it here. Where else did I have it? I had it under I had it under here, and then I had it here, here, and here. And as you can see, it's sticky. And so as soon as people scroll up until this point, it sticks at the top. And then at this stage, they have the button to click all throughout the website as they scroll down. So that's super important, and it allows the web page to be a little bit cleaner to where there aren't buttons kind of spamming you a little bit. And I figured with this approach, it's a little bit friendlier, because these days, whenever you go on websites, there's always something kind of sticking up at the top for you to check out. And so I tried to keep it like that, to where it's a little bit more natural. And then, sorry, I'm doing a lot of scrolling right here. As soon as we go through the reviews, I immediately introduce myself, and I had this goofy photo that I took kind of as a joke, but I wanted to show that I'm not somebody who is going to be in your face, rah, 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 angry all the time, to where you're going to be reluctant to call this angry person because they're intimidating. And so my goal here is to show a little bit of personality at this stage. And the reasoning for that is because if I'm as welcoming as possible, then I want them to feel like, okay, whenever they give me a call, they don't have any reason to be nervous. Every now and then I get a phone call where I can tell somebody's a little nervous to talk to me. They understand that I'm a lawyer, and as soon as they start talking to a lawyer, they put up their walls and they get a little guarded. I tried to hopefully minimize that as much as possible. In fact, if we scroll back up to the top, the reason for having this photo is to make it as welcoming as possible, right? I'm sitting on one end, and in my mind, it's like, okay, if you're the client, click here, but also, sit down and let's chat on this couch and figure out exactly how I can help. My one critique with this photo is that it's not super clear. Like, there's a little bit of blurring going on over on my face. The reasoning for that is, as I've already seen by me scrolling, there are tons of photos on this web page, and so the reason why I decided to sacrifice a little bit of clarity and quality on this photo is because I want this web page to load as quickly as possible. And so I took some of the quality of the photo out in order to make the file size a little bit smaller. But maybe I come back and upload the actual photo itself to have a better quality. But it looks good to me. And again, we're scrolling back down. We have my goofy photo. We have a little bit of personalization. We have the sticky going on. And boom, we have more reviews. And what I did intentionally was make sure that I included photos of the people who were leaving reviews in order to make it personalized and to show that I'm not just creating these reviews out of thin air. These are actual people. In fact, you have Dr. Matt Delgado right here. You can click on this link and go to his Instagram page and see that it's him. And so we can see faces. There's a lot of smiling going on. There's a lot of personalization. And again, the goal here is to be as approachable as possible so people feel like whenever they give me a call that they're, talking to somebody that they can be comfortable with. And then at this point, it's all about incorporating some of the questions that I hear every single day whenever I'm talking to clients, and that I especially hear as potential objections whenever I'm, talking to people about maybe signing them up, right? As a personal injury lawyer, one of the questions that I always get is, but the insurance company has accepted fault. Do I really need a lawyer? It's kind of a yes or no question, but I addressed that at some point on this web page. But as you can see here, I'm trying to give information to help the potential clients on what they can do to help bulletproof their case. And so I have an interactive kind of Q&A here where they can get information just by clicking here and figuring out exactly what they need. And then I also, subtly pitch myself and my rationale and my philosophies throughout these steps. And again, we have reviews, and, some people may say you can potentially have too many reviews. I'm not one of those people. I honestly, every time I settle a case with a client, I reach out to them, ask for a review so I can eventually throw it up on the website. And the rationale for that is if somebody complains, hey, you have too many good reviews on your website, it's annoying, then one, I don't know if I want that person to be a client. And two, that's a great problem to have. So we're still scrolling. Now, I wanted there to be a little bit of like breathing here aesthetically. And so I recently included this little section instead of just like hopping into more text. It's, minimalist, one sentence here, one sentence there. You have this crazy person pointing over here. And I took, the color out, and I did that through Thrive Suite to where I uploaded a colored photo. I was able to edit the photo through Thrive Suite and simply just point over on this button to help get them a little oriented on where they should be clicking. But as you can tell, it's still up there, but I don't think it's overkill to have a button pop up every now and then. So here are the FAQs, aka the potential objections that I hear all the time. For example, do I need a lawyer? And, whenever they call me or potential clients give me a call, that's always the first question. And so it's a matter of giving them information that will ultimately, hopefully, lead to them clicking this button. And if I can get them going down the questionnaire, and if they are in a situation where I'm interested in handling the case, then through the questionnaire, I also, pitch myself a little bit more to eventually be able to set up that phone call automatically. What if the insurance company is accepting liability, right? That's an objection that I hear, which is, but shouldn't this be easy? They're saying that they're at fault. And the answer is no, because there's two sides to a personal injury case. One side's liability. The other side, even more importantly, is all about the dollars. And the insurance company, they're all worried about the dollars. And so that's where a lot of the fight ends up happening. And so I address that here. Is a lawsuit necessary? A lot of my clients or potential clients, when they call, they have this assumption that I'm going to have to turn around and file suit. And so I make sure to address the fact that, no, that's not actually how it works. It's not as contentious as you see on TV. More cases than not, I'm not having to file suit. And yep, more reviews. And this is where we start just rapid firing the reviews. Keeping in mind, these clients or ex-clients decided to not send photos, which is totally fine. I always tell them it's your call. And so since they didn't send photos, I just kind of bulked it right here. Why choose this law firm? Start selling the law firm a little bit more, because if they're scrolling this far down, then they should hopefully be interested. And so we have that information. Some more FAQs. Does this firm accept medical malpractice cases? I don't. Please don't ever call me about a med mal case. I spend way too much time on those, and I don't even handle the cases. So there is that. And then additional information that people may have in that point in time. And then I change it up a little bit. Have a family photo, which I just think is absolutely adorable. Look at our puppy Mabel, my wife Melanie, and a little quote that help maybe pitch the small law firm, aka Stone Firm PLC, compared to larger law firms where you would get the same representation as one of my family members, which is 100% true. Okay, more reviews, right? Despite being a small law firm, look at all these people that Stone Firm PLC has helped. Another opportunity to check out the questionnaire, and then one more in the footer, just in case there are other pages that people are accessing at some point in time. They'll always see something like this. So that is, in a nutshell, the philosophy, methodology, and mentality used throughout this. Now, the next question is also, how does it look on mobile? So let's go through that. So we scroll through. I'll do this quickly because it's going to be the same rationale. We have reviews, and then we have the sticky that I just added today, actually. We have more reviews, and I'm just burning through this. As you can tell, everything is much more stacked compared to what it was looking like on the laptop, but it all is within the margins. It's all interactive. As you see here, I can click how do the attorney's fees work, and then it just moves around. Again, we still have the sticky at the top. We still have the photos loading correctly, and boom, there it is. And so as you can tell, everything works well on mobile, and so that's an important feature because a lot of people will most likely be visiting your website through their phone, probably more so than on their laptop. So having a great presentation on mobile is extremely important. Okay, so that sums up the inspiration section of this lesson. I do want to go ahead and throw it to you at this point. Based on the inspiration you saw in this lesson, maybe based on also the inspiration you're seeing through your own research, what all did you like? What all didn't you like? What all are you thinking about implementing with your law firm's website? Are there any things that you want potential feedback on? If any of those involve questions, thoughts, comments, or concerns, leave those in the comment section down below within this lesson. That way people can see it, provide their feedback, and I'm happy to take a look at it as well. Okay, we are back at our guinea pig website, texasclassactionlawyer.com. For those that were going through the last lesson, this is where we left things. And so I have to say I'm excited about where we're at this point, because not only are we at the meat of this lesson, but we're at the meat of this course. And so let's kind of go through how we can get started with building the website that we want to build. And I think you're basically at a fork in the road. What I mean by that is what we can do is immediately dive in and start editing and changing this homepage that we're seeing right now, the default homepage. The only downside I'll say with starting quote from scratch is that, as you can tell, there isn't much law firm-esque material on here already. And so everything you build is going to have to be from scratch. I'll show you how you can do that. But the fork in the road that is basically your alternative is what I plan on doing is providing a link down in the body of this lesson. And what that link will take you to is the ability to be able to download the template version of my website. That way you can have exactly what my setup is and you can implement it in your website. And the benefit here is that this may save you a ton of time, especially if you're new to building websites, where you can throw this up on your website. The links will be interactive. You'll be able to sticky if you want to sticky certain things, and that'll basically give you a foundation that's a little bit more established than what we have going on over here. Either approach is going to get us to the same point. The question is whether or not you want to save time. You know, if time is money, then this may be the approach that you want to take. And it doesn't technically mean that you have to stick with the layout that I have here. Obviously, you're going to be making changes anyways. The point is, if you like certain aspects of it, maybe you like the feel of it, maybe you like the sticky, maybe you like this section, or maybe you like this section, you can save all of it as a template, and that way whenever you are potentially coming over here, you can just immediately drop that template or that section into here without having to build everything from scratch. Helps make things a whole lot easier, but it's really up to what your workflow is going to be. And at the same time, if you are liking certain aspects, or maybe you want to change certain aspects, you can always drop changes in this web page as well once you upload it. Okay, so I'm going to rudely cut myself off very abruptly right here, because this is Jarrett from the future, meaning I'm the version of Jarrett that's already recorded this lesson, and I'm also the version that created 2 extra templates for you. Since I haven't finalized this lesson yet, I figured I'd come back and give you a heads up of that. And so what I ended up doing after this lesson was not only creating the version of the website that you're watching right now, and ended up kind of polishing that version 1.0 up for you to be able to download as a template, I also did a little bit more. I went a step further and created a more traditional law firm template, very similar to the ones that you were looking at earlier in this lesson on Theme Forest. And if you want to be able to check out those templates, I'll put those in the same link down below to get the Stone Firm template. I would showcase it here, but I'm going to not do that just in case you don't want to see the spoiler quite yet. If you don't care about spoilers, if you want to see what the final product looks like, then go ahead and click the link down below. That'll take you to some previews for you to be able to preview those 2 additional templates. And just to give myself a little extra wiggle room in the future, if I make more templates, I'll be sure to put those templates in the link as well. That way you can see all additional templates in the future. Okay, future Jarrett signing off and giving it back to past Jarrett, if that makes any sort of sense. So what I plan on doing from this point forward is kind of showing you both routes. And the first route, I'm going to basically orient you a little bit on how to use the Thrive products in order to build your website. And so what I'll do in order to orient you is to show you how to upload this as a template and to have it up on your website, because right now we're on stonefirm.law and we can download the template in the link in the description below, and then we can upload it here on texasclassactionlawyer.com and work from that. So at this point in time, let's kind of work on that and then get oriented a little bit, and that way you get a bit of the fundamentals established in order to ultimately start building out your website. So whether or not you decided to get this as a template, I recommend that you take this approach with your next steps. So we're here on texasclassactionlawyer.com. We're going to go to the very top. We're going to click dashboard and then scroll and click pages. And then what I plan on doing is cloning the home page. So let's clone it. And then now we have our clone. And so what I'm also going to do is go back. Then as you can see, you have clone of generated homepage, and I'm going to go ahead and clone this one as well. Okay, so we have a clone of generated homepage. We have inceptions of clones going on right now. And so let's go back one more time. The point of having a clone of a generated homepage and a clone of a generated homepage is whenever you are building your website, I do recommend at this point, especially if you're just getting started with Thrive Suite and building a website for the first time, to build your website on these clone pages before you really start finalizing things. This is, in essence, your scratch piece of paper that we're going to work on. And so with this clone, it's copied this homepage we were looking at earlier with the random guy who's on the top of the page. And so I'll keep this one as our, we'll say, default page, and this one I'll show you how to upload the Stone Firm template, and that way you can implement the template as well. And we'll also use that to help orient everyone on how to use Thrive Architect. So we can click Edit with Thrive Architect here to start editing, or we can click on the page itself, click Launch with Thrive Architect, or we can go to Preview, Desktop, Preview in New tab, and then there's the page that we're looking at, and then we can also click Edit with Thrive Architect. The reason why I showed you all the options is because maybe you're going through some of these pages and you realize whenever you're going through pages that, hey, I want to make an edit here. It'd be a little annoying if you always had to go to dashboard, back to pages, back to the site, and then clicking it. Instead, you can always just go up to the very top, click Edit with Thrive Architect. Okay, so we are officially able to edit things. And as you can tell, things are happening. And so we're able to start editing anything and everything at this point in time. And so what I'm going to do at this stage is upload the Stone Firm PLC template, and that way you can get a look at how things look once it uploads. And just a quick heads up, whenever you do upload the file, make sure that's still in its zip format. That's what makes it compatible with the Thrive theme. So let's go ahead and click Import. And look at this. This is bringing me deja vu. So let's do a quick scroll. Actually, let's not do a quick scroll. Let's do Save Work. All changes were saved. By the way, if for whatever reason you get, hey, this was blocked, then you may again need to go to WordFence and set it into learning mode. We went over how to do that in the previous lesson. So what I want to do is click Preview, to preview the saved version. Keeping in mind, if you don't save it, you won't see the saved version. And let's do a quick scroll. Let's see how things uploaded immediately. It's already implementing, and it's very intelligent in doing so, our main color choice here. And so we can always change that if we don't like it. By the way, you can tell I changed my client's photos. So whenever you do, here we go. We got the sticky. Sorry, I cut myself off there. Whenever you do upload this and you have it on your computer, you'll notice that this is the same photo over and over again. Anyway, so we have the sticky right here. That's working. Let's just keep scrolling. Notice we have this pink color, which I'm not a fan of. That'll change. We have this. This is working. Okay, you still have the picture of me. That's the most important thing. And we still have this pink. Okay. Okay, everything relatively looks good. Only small changes need to be made. Now, granted, that's just kind of my situation because I tend to be a little partial with my own website. But with that being said, let's test out this link real quick. And I don't even have to click it. I can tell this is actually going to go to my website and the questionnaire on my website. So whenever you do upload this to your website, all these buttons you're going to have to change to the questionnaire on your website or the page you want it to go to. Otherwise, you're just going to be sending free traffic to my website, which may be good, may not be good. But in either event, let's exit out of this page and go back to our little editor that we already had open. And let's take a look here. Okay, so we're scrolling. Let's see what a good teaching point is going to be. I think this is going to be a good teaching point. And let's use this. So as you can tell, I'm highlighting this text right here, right? This is the text that's in this little blue box. And in order to make a change, I can just click this. But the question is, what if I want to actually change the blue box? How do I get to that? That's a little weird, other than maybe coming all the way over here. And the best way to really get oriented with being able to click the right things is to use the breadcrumbs up here at the very top. Let me see if I can make it easier for you. So with the breadcrumbs up here, we're on the text. That's the green portion that's selected. And within the text, this is like Inception. We have to go deeper. Within the text, we have a column. That's this portion right here. Within the column, we have columns. And within the columns, we have the background section. The background section is this blue section right here. So if you're ever wanting to make an edit, then the best way to access what you're editing is just click the first thing that's, popping up, because this is all layered, right? Got 3 minutes is layered on top of the column, on top of the columns, on top of the background section. And so if you really want to edit the columns, for example, like this, then all you have to do is click columns up here. Or alternatively, let's say you want to edit the column. And look, you have the ability to make these changes right there. I don't know where this was, but whatever. Now, at this stage, one thing that you can do as you're going through this portion of the website or any portion of this page is figure out what you like. And if you like it and you want to implement it, let's say on the default page that we were looking at earlier with the random guy on the home page, you can always go to the portion that you want to save. For example, let's say we don't want to save the got 3 minutes as a template, but instead we want to save this whole sticky section as a template. So I went up there, I clicked the background section, and let's click save. As you can tell, this is the save button. But before doing that, let's get a little bit more oriented actually. If you ever want to throw something away, if you want this entire background section with everything inside of it to be deleted, you click the trash can. And if you accidentally click the trash can, try and come down here to the bottom left and click undo. If you want to duplicate it and just, I don't know, have multiple stickies or multiple pictures, for example, if I click duplicate right here, hey, look, there's 2 versions of me, and then I can click delete right there. You can always do that. If you want to get back to the background section, go through the breadcrumbs. You can move the section, the entire section around. For example, if we want to move the sticky right here, we can move the sticky right there. Or if we want to undo it, we can undo it, and there's the sticky. So that's a little bit of orientation with this control panel right here. So let's get back to the background section, save it as a template, type in the template name, let's say sticky quiz, and then we could do a category of sticky or something, but whatever, I'm just going to skip that. Click Save New Template. So to really flush out this example, let's say you're really wanting to basically to take pieces from this page and you're wanting to implement it on the default page that we were looking at earlier. For example, if we were to go to our home page, keeping in mind I have both windows up right now, so we're about to have two architects going on. So this is the clone of the clone. Let's click Edit with Thrive Architect. Here's our deepest friend, and below the friend we want to have the sticky. I don't know if I want to have it below. Let's put the sticky. Yeah, let's just put the sticky right here. So we're talking about templates right now. So let's put the template below this background section. So here's the sticky quiz that we'll click. And boom, there it is. You didn't have to build this from scratch, but obviously you can make changes, and we'll talk about that in a second. Click Save Work. Let's see it in action. Okay, all changes saved. Preview. There's our best friend. Scrolling down. Oh, hey, this looks oddly familiar. And then it's sticky is working. That's great. So there's always that approach. You can take pieces of what is on the Stone Firm page and implement it if this is what you're wanting to build upon. Or, as always, you can make changes to the Stone Firm page and make it your own. Okay, so class is still in session with orientation a little bit. So on the left, right here, this is what we have as our, I'll say, our editor. This is how we make changes to the tools that we are using. So, for example, text right there. Let me scroll so you can not have to strain your neck and strain your eyes too much. The text is a tool. The column is a tool. The columns is a tool. The background section, that's a tool every step of the way. And so you can access the tools by coming over here, clicking this plus button, adding an element. And so if you wanted to build this sticky section, you could add the background section, add the columns. Let's do it like this. You can always change this. Add the text. Add another line of text. Below that text. And then add our button right there. Okay, and it automatically implements our color scheme. And so this is kind of the sticky right here. So we put our tools down. The tools have been selected. Now it's a matter of editing the tools, how we want to edit them. And so let's choose the text right here, and let's go to our editor on the left. You have your main options, your layout and position, your background style, your borders and corners, scroll behavior, animation and action, shadow, responsive, and HTML attributes. That's a lot. Let's go through it very briefly. This is going to require you to get comfortable in playing around with things. No, stop reminding me. Okay, so your main options are going to be dependent on what tool you're using. In this situation, since we're using text, we have the options to change our color, to change our font. So for example, we could do bold, missed the O there, got 3 minutes. Come up here, we can put that in the center. We can change from a paragraph to like a heading. And we can change the size of it. Let's use, what color do we want to use here? It went to that gray that we were looking at earlier. Add that, save color. Let's make it save as a global color, sure. Apply. And then we can do something very similar. with this to where we can make it a paragraph as our like subheading. We can center it, and then let's make it, actually let's just keep it as is right now. Okay, here we have this right now. We're going to do this in stages, kind of guess and check. Let's go to the background section, and then what we can do, obviously, as you can see here, your main options are different from the main options with your text. We want to change the background style's color. So background style, let's go to solid color, and then I'm going to implement this color right here. And then what we can do at this stage is, let's bump it up a little bit. And you can change the spacing here. As you can tell, in the main options, you have line spacing. So you can drag that up, make it a little bit closer, or alternatively, you can go to layout and position, and this will allow things to be changed right there. Now, here's a little bit of a tutorial on layout and position. These outside aspects are what move your tool up and down, left or right. So this is going to go up, or excuse me, down. Now it's going to go up. So it's all about dragging and holding it, or you can click on this and type in the number if you want to get specific. Sometimes it takes a quick second to load because you got a lot going on there. This is going to be left or right. Boom, boom, boom. As you can see, it's moving at the same time. On the inside is a little bit different. This is going to annoy me if that's not the same. Instead of moving things up, down, left, or right from the outside, you're going to be constricting things on the inside. And so I know it looks like it's moving left right now. That's just because the inside that is within this tool is becoming more narrow, and we have it centered. So as this is becoming more narrow, the middle is actually moving. So if I start moving this one, it starts getting more constricted. Now, if this were to be on a phone right now, a lot of the issues that you're going to have with a phone whenever you come down here, click on preview, is that you can see sometimes words can get, it's not happening in this situation, but words can get close to the edges. And so your margins, that inside portion over here on the left, is going to allow you to bring it in order to make sure you're not getting too close to those margins. So with all that said, we can keep playing around with this, figure out what exactly is going to work best. For example, we can add a little bit of shadow to it. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not liking the color scheme. So let's go back to our color palette. Okay, so I spent a little bit of time playing with the color schemes, playing with the font in order to get to this point that I'm at right now. And I'm a little embarrassed because I couldn't get the red that we were looking at earlier, whatever color this is, to really show well on this background, and I wasn't really understanding why. And so when you come up to color, make sure that your opacity is 100%, because mine was at 80 because I clicked one of these and then changed the color, so it stuck it at 80. And so I was like, I kept trying to figure out what exactly was going on. Then I just figured it out. So we're going to go with that approach. And I also changed the font on this one to Roboto Slab in order to make it a little bit thicker. I think with the red, you run the risk of it being hard or more difficult to read, but you also want it to pop because this is important. And then we have take this super short quiz, and I don't know why super is not all caps. So I went ahead and saved this because I think we're at a good stopping point, relatively speaking. So I'm clicking on this button right here, and then let's go to main options. And this is the orientation. Let's align it left. And let's go to our background section right here. And let's layout and position. We want to, I think we want to change this. Bring that up a little bit. As you can see, things are coming closer to it. With your height of it, you can set it as minimum, or you can drag this up or down. So I made it a little bit tighter. We can also go to main options here, section minimum height. You can change this to whatever you want it to be. So in our situation, I can make this a little bit smaller, as you can see. I can also change it by using the columns. So right now the columns are pushing what it's inside, because right now we're controlling the outside of the column. So this is pushing things down. And since it's inside the background section, it's now pushing the background section as far down as we want it to go. And so this is, since this is going to be at the top of our screen, we don't want to take up too much of it to where it's intrusive. Okay, so let's come over here to the button, main options. This is what we're working with here. Let's see if there's anything color scheme wise. Actually, I kind of like it faded, but what we want to do more specifically is come up here, do the hover, click on the button, background style. We want it to change colors to, let's change it to something a little bit more red, a little bit more obvious. Okay, so back to normal. So when we hover over it, see it changes to that red. And that's obviously only going to work whenever somebody's on a laptop because they have a mouse to hover over with. Okay, so because we have this set up, now again, this is all about your style, right? This is more my style, but I'm trying to show you a different look and approach that's, following the color scheme that we were looking at earlier. That way you can kind of see that you have options here. So what I'm going to do is click on this, click on the background section, and say bye-bye. Okay, so I'm going to click on this. I'm going to click on the background section. And then what I'm going to do is, I'm going to double check this. Let's see what this looks like at 100%. Is that what we want to go for? What do y'all think? That fits that background. Yeah, let's keep it like that. Okay, so we're going to apply this, keeping in mind that, as we can see here, this column goes pretty far out, right? We want to test it on different screen sizes. So we may want to bring the column itself in, columns, and put a little bit of an indentation on it. So let's just do 20. Let's do 20. You see how things are coming in because you're making it smaller on the inside. So yeah, I think that looks good. So again, back to background section. Let's go to scroll behavior. Let's do sticky. And like I was telling you on my website, I don't have this sticky on the actual website itself. I have a separate sticky that shows up. And so we'll walk through that in a second. Now, click this. Let's save work, preview. Scrolling. Oh, hey, look, it's stickies. So look, we got that up and running. Now, if you think this is too intrusive, you can always bring the font down. You can bring this down. You can change this. We have this click behavior. But overall, you get the idea of what we're doing, right? So let's go ahead and exit out of the preview. Let's spend a little bit of time talking about the button. And so you can change by going to main options, by having maybe a second line of text on the button. You can always change the text on the button by clicking it. But remember, once you click this, you're inside the button. So if you want to access the button, you got to get back to the button. So we can make it bigger. We can make it smaller. We can change how it looks. And this right here is important because once you decide where you want the button to go, you put in your URL right here, and then maybe you want to open up a new tab when people click on the button, or alternatively, you can always just have them click on it and then it refreshes this page to what they just clicked on. Or if you want it to, jump from one point to the other, you can always add a jump link. And to do that, the target element was removed. So we'll do smooth animation, select target, and let's say we want to jump people down to this little divider, add jump link. And then let's save work. Click preview. Scroll, 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 scroll. Click here now, and boom, it jumped us down to here. So that's exactly where we wanted it to go. So yeah, let's go back. And the point of really fleshing out this example isn't so much so you can build something that's sticky, right? Like let's say you don't have a quiz yet, or you don't even want a quiz or an intake form. You can always just change this to, your phone number or something. You can change it to deleting the column, or excuse me, the button. Let's say we want to put inside the column is a column. And so we have columnception going on. Let's do icon. Put that in there. Add icon, search for phone, select text, add the text, 281-330-800 faux, and then we can change this. We can make this bigger, or we can do it that way, let it breathe a little bit more, and we can change this color on how we want to change its size, change how it sits in the position. Maybe we want to put it right there. And since we talked about going up or down, we can change it like that. And that way when people are searching, they'll see this, or when they're scrolling, they'll see this. So you have options, right? You can legitimately build whatever you want to build. But altogether, the point of me kind of going through this is to get you oriented on how to really start building what you actually want to build, and how to get comfortable with Thrive Architect and what all's going on here. So what I do recommend is to kind of go through what is set up here and figure out exactly how I set things up, right? So, click something and then come over here and see what all is happening. And as you can tell, right now, there's just an empty column in this situation, right? There's nothing in here. It just says column. But over here, that's where the text is. And the reason why I have a column for each side is so I can fit nice and snugly one side of the text and all this, so that ultimately at the very back end is, if we scroll over here, background style, we have this gradient that is on top of the photo. And so this is obviously the photo that's in the background section, is built in, and this like blue, navy blue that's just kind of bleeding away or fading out to the actual photo is this gradient right here. You can click that, you can make those edits. But using this as an example, you can see exactly how things are set up. Okay, so at this point, since we have an idea of how to build the actual home page the way we want to build it, remember you got your tools over here, you got your tweaks over here. Let's look at the header. So let's click on the header, go down over here, edit header. And then at this point, you're basically doing the exact same thing, right? You can click on whatever you want to click. You can use the breadcrumbs up here. And in my situation, I deleted all of these, right? And if you look at Stone Firm, if we go to the very top, all of that's gone. It's just a simple, can I help? And so figure out what you want to do. And as you're maybe game planning a little bit, for example, if you want to change this to blog, you can do that by going blog, about us, and then maybe the portions right here are about rando on home screen or home page, Bob. Now, you can obviously do this with any of these, changes how you want, and you can make these changes over here. And so what I recommend is just kind of getting a feel for everything, exactly what you want. And then what you can do once we start expanding on beyond the home page, if that's what you want to do, is you can take the URL to the pages that go beyond the home page, put them in here on the target URL. So that way when people click on blog, you may have texasclassactionlawyer.com/blog right here, and that'll take them to that page. Once you're done editing, click done, and that'll take you out of editing the header. And you can do the same thing with the footer. Come all the way down to the footer, click click edit footer and start going through your process there as well. So look, I understand that using Thrive Suite and getting to this point is a little bit of a gift and a curse. The gift is you have so much at your disposal. You can truly build the website that you want. You're not limited in what you're able to do here. And that's kind of the curse at the same time. Because if you used a theme builder that limited you to, 2 different styles of templates, or you could only build 1 or 2 different things, then that would maybe make your life a little bit easier, because it would maybe take 5 or 10 minutes to get everything up and running and for you to maybe not even think about your website again. But is that really what you want? Obviously not. If you're at this point in the course, it's not what you want. It's not what you need. And so the gift far outweighs the curse, and we can overcome the downside by doing one thing, which is tinkering. So I recommend what you do at this stage is to tinker away on the clone of your home pages, aka your rough drafts, and start throwing in let's say a background element, and then throwing in different elements inside of that background element, and getting more comfortable with making the edits and the tweaks of each element, and understanding exactly how you can start creating the website that you want. It's all about trial and error, guessing and checking, and I understand that takes time. I understand it makes you get out of your comfort zone a little bit, but this is where we're at, right? If you want to be able to have an amazing website that you 100% control, you need to have a better understanding of how to do exactly what you want to do with building your website. Along those lines, though, in the next lesson, my goal is to help you along the way in this process, because on one hand, I could just continue this lesson for a very long time. This is a very long video, and if you're powering through it, if you're at this point, I applaud you, I bow down to you, and I appreciate you. But if I were to basically record in real time me creating the templates that I've made for law firms, it would be excruciatingly long, excruciatingly slow, and honestly, I don't think it'd be very effective. I think you'd mentally be checked out before you actually started learning a whole lot of building a website. So what we're going to do in the next lesson is take a look at portions of the templates for law firms that I've made thus far, and deconstruct and reverse engineer those portions of the templates. That way you get a better sense of not only the end goal by seeing that first, but we can use the breadcrumbs to show what all went into the creation of those portions of each template. And that'll give you a better sense of, okay, in order to create that sticky, I need to drop in the background section. And then within the background section, I need to have this element, this element, this element, and so on and so forth. So that's what we'll do in the next lesson. But before you start the next lesson, you have the homework assignment of tinkering away. And once you're a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more oriented with Thrive Suite and everything it has to offer, then go start the next lesson. In either event, I do recommend that maybe you throw your website URL in the comment section down below here on Law Venture. That way you can get some extra eyes on it, get some extra feedback, constructive criticism. Maybe there's a typo that you didn't catch. And in doing so, that allows you to optimize your website and hopefully turn version 1.0 into version 2.0. And the goal is for version 2.0 to be exponentially better. And for those that are ready for the next lesson, I'll see you there.